What's happening, crew? I am TokuPan22, and welcome to another gameplay video. This time around, I am bringing you Toxic Crusaders. Now this is a demo that recently dropped on Steam, so I figured I would take the opportunity to play it myself. If you've ever played Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge, then you'll definitely enjoy this game too. And I know I'm probably going to be showing my age here, because this particular franchise right here will definitely hit you in the nostalgia nerves. That being said, let me share a little history with you about Toxic Crusaders. Just a quick little side note, there may be some spots where you don't hear me say anything, and the reason for that is because that I want you to also be able to hear the dialogue of the game itself. So Toxic Crusaders is a Saturday morning cartoon that premiered back in 1991, and it is based off of a movie called The Toxic Avenger, which came out in, oh good god, I really am old.
Gee, fellas, Dr. Killama finally pulled out all the stops. Seeing as no one else is available, this looks like a job for the Toxic Crusaders.
Anyway, the film itself is another one of those B-horror movie types with dark humor, maybe a little fourth wall breaking, but a whole lot of blood and gore. Back when I was a kid, I stumbled across this movie on a Saturday afternoon. At first, it creeped me out, but then I gave it another chance, and not only did I realize that it really wasn't as scary as I thought, but I started to kind of like it. Even had an opportunity to watch its sequel. I think it had more, but I mainly remember the last one. Anyway, the Toxic Avenger movie would be another one of those films where nobody would bat an eyelash at it until way later on, and it would become a cult classic. Fast forward 7 years later with an age-old question. What do you do with an ultra-violent franchise to really make some serious cash off of it? Make a Saturday morning cartoon out of it.
I enjoy a walk as much as the next hideously deformed canine, but something about the scenery today leaves a lot to be desired.
Now, Junkyard, let's not be harsh. The Trommerville Civic Association put a lot of care into their High Street restoration project. It's not their fault an army of alien interlopers decided to trample all over it.
Yeah, when I mark my territory, it's cute, but when these bozos do it, it's just plain rude.
That's right. Toxic Crusaders will be yet another series that will follow the same practices as films such as RoboCop, Rambo, when it comes to watering down the violence and making it more kid-friendly. And just like with the Ninja Turtles, it would involve a group of mutated beings joining together to become superheroes. So when I started watching the Toxic Crusaders cartoon, I had a pretty good idea of what I was getting into, and was even surprised that they made a cartoon out of it. So I actually kind of enjoyed it. I even had the opportunity to play the Sega Genesis game that came out back at that time. Okay, now that we're done with that stroll down memory lane, let's move on to the game itself.
Look sharp, you maggots! You call this an invasion? I've seen miracles with more military might. You're telling me, even when I worked for these guys, they were useless. And don't get me started on the office parties.
Oh yeah, I forget. You used to be one of the bad guys. Glad you saw the light of day.
What can I say? You've grown on me.
Let's start with the characters. Looking at the roster, it has a pretty solid cast. Not to mention a couple of surprising characters that I never thought would actually be in the game. Starting, of course, with the Toxic Avenger, or Toxie, or, for those of you who've watched the movie or cartoon, Melvin Junko, who I'm currently playing as right now. You may have seen the characters in the beginning of the video, but you also have No Zone, the blue big nose dude, whom I recall being kind of interested in because he had this peg leg with a little wheel on it that he would always skate on. Major Disaster, which, you know, kind of goes without saying. Headbanger, which is that fusion between Dr. Bender and Fender. I'm having to read off a little bit of the roster because some of these names I don't remember. And Junkyard, which is a big dog wearing overalls and a spiked chain collar. Now, two more characters that I'm surprised to see here would have to be Yvonne, who is Toxie's girlfriend, and Miss Junko, who is Toxie's mother. Hey, if they can make old school April O'Neil even more of a threat in Shredder's Revenge, why not? Anyway, even though Miss Junko, No Zone, and Headbanger aren't available in the demo right now, I look forward to seeing what they're capable of in the full version of the game. It does make you wonder when the game drops in full and future updates whether or not there might be some extra characters to look forward to or unlock. Maybe even some special guest characters that might make an appearance.
Hey, where'd everybody go?
Looks like they're heading into that diner for a bite to eat. An army marches on its stomach, after all.
Oh wow, dinner time! Do you think they allow dogs? Whoa! They're trashing the place! Not cool, bug dudes!
Not cool indeed, Fender. Disorderly conduct is one thing, but trashing a small business outside of a public holiday? That's un-American!
Gameplay-wise, it feels like a pretty solid side-scroller beat-em-up so far. And since this is a demo, obviously there's a few things that needs to be tweaked. Like, for example, certain times the hit detection might need a little bit of work, especially when it comes to the throwing, but I know that there are some advantages and disadvantages to whatever character you use. Like, say for example, I used Yvonne in a second gameplay, and while she is able to pretty much throw a car like her boyfriend or any of the other Toxic Crusaders, she still struggles with it, and not only can you see it in the animation, but you can also feel it in the controls. She's much slower when she's carrying something. Then there's also the moveset. There aren't that many, so I'm hoping that they'll put more in there too. Not to necessarily do a lot of comparison with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge. I just feel like there's a lot of potential behind this game as well, and with more development, there'll be a lot more to offer. So I look forward to what else they'll come out with next.
I've heard of the lunchtime rush, but this is ridiculous.
Can you blame them, Doc? At these prices, you'd be crazy not to eat here.
Well, that's a relief. Practice a little mad science over the years, and people make all kinds of assumptions about your sanity.
The items, of course, not that there's very much since, again, it is a demo. I like how useful they can be. Being able to pick up and throw items. Then you got these toxic waste canisters that you can pick up and throw. And when you step into them, it'll actually recharge a meter that you have that will put you into, I think they call it rad mode, which is basically where you're stronger and faster. I would say that they have a decent selection when it comes to the enemy cannon fodder. Definitely formidable. I definitely remember those guys in the hazmat suits as well as some of the enemy thugs. However, I am not a fan of the ones called Frank because they block a lot. So you really have to work around them to try to get through their defenses. I still haven't figured it out just yet, but if you're not careful, they will take you down hard.
Time to give these guys their just start.
Just as long as they finish their vegetables first. Yeah.
Ooh, and then maybe they can visit the salad bar.
Easy now. Let's not wear out the joke.
The ones that carry weapons can also be troublesome, so I have to really be careful around them. I also have to give the developers credit for the music. It's been pretty good so far. A lot of it's been catchy, and on top of that, it gives me the arcade feel. Kind of puts you in the mind of the music from like the X-Men game, that old arcade game. Not to mention some Sega vibes, especially with the beats. Which puts me into mind of a couple of other X-Men games, and especially the Streets of Rage series. I do love the fact that Toxic Crusaders has a good amount of voice dialogue. And I can't help but think that they might have brought about most of the original cast to voice these characters. I'm not entirely sure, but especially with the villain, he sounds awfully familiar. I'm gonna have to check that out later. Also, if you listen closely, you'll hear a couple of times where they break the fourth wall just like they did in the show.
Let that be a lesson to you. Honestly, manners these days.
After them, fellas. We still need to split the check. Superheroes aren't made of money, you know.
So after playing this demo, it has me thinking, what other franchises might be out there that someone might be willing to make into a side-scrolling beat-em-up? I mean, we got this game that's coming out soon. We already got Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge. So I'd say that there's a good amount of possibilities, especially if we're going back to the ones that, even if they've been short-lived, they were still pretty good and have a following. Say, for instance,
Oh, that Dr. Killamoff! I'm gonna give him a piece of my mind! Now what rhymes with get out of here?
Game of the year.
That seems unlikely.
Attack of the Killer Tomatoes. I'd love to see what they would do with that one. I even remember the cartoon. And I finally got a chance to see the movie that it was based off of. Another example would be this troll cartoon. I don't remember if it became a cartoon, but I do remember that they made a video game out of it, but it was never released. It involved these like super powered muscle-bound trolls that basically went out to fight crime, from what I remember. Anyway, it was another one of those that never really got off the ground. Another thought would be, and I can't believe how deeper I'm reaching into this rabbit hole, that one Creepy Crawlers cartoon. They had this kid who came across the Creepy Crawler machine and created these like mutated beings who he became friends with, and they became heroes. I don't know if any of y'all remember that, but it happened and it's there. But again, I would say that there's plenty of possibilities. It'd be nice if we could see a side-scroller for something like, say, He-Man. Oh god, He-Man is way overdue, even with some of the fan-made stuff. Silverhawks, Thundercats. Same thing can definitely be said for Thundercats. But once again, I digress.
Attacking our home? This time you've gone too far, Killamoff.
He has been trying to kill us in 2 stages now.
I know, but a man's dump is his castle. This is personal.
Well, I'm not sure what else can be said about this game other than the fact that it's fun so far. I enjoyed the demo. I'm looking forward to the full version. It hit those nostalgia nerves pretty well. And again, I can't wait to see what comes up next. So from this point on, I can pretty much let the rest of the video play. I'll have a couple of things to say at the end of it, but otherwise, I just hope that you're all enjoying the video, and let me know down below if you're looking forward to this game too. One thing I forgot to mention, even though it says that the demo right now is available on Steam and it's planning to be dropped on the PC, I hope that when the full version does drop, that it will be available for other consoles, such as the Switch or the PS4 and maybe PS5. Or at least whenever I finally do get a PS5. But my point is that I want to be able to not only play this game on a console, I want to be able to play this game with other people. So, not just online either. I mean, this has online and couch co-op possibilities written all over it. So again, I say hopefully it will drop on some of these other consoles.
Stop right there, Toxic Crusaders!
Dr. Killamoff. Attacking the good people of Tromaville is one thing, but trespassing on our toxic waste dump? Where's your sense of decency?
And smell.
Decency's got nothing to do with it. I'm just finishing what I started days ago. Psycho, launch the weapon!
You got it, boss.
It's time to put an end to this ridiculous charade. And the only ones trespassing here are you, on my planet. It's Paluto, the living oil slick, and he's looking stronger than ever.
So, at this point, we've reached the end of the demo. You got this boss fight. You'll also got some more dialogue popping up. And that's pretty much it. If you played this demo, then you know that at the end, they have a QR code to put on your wish list. And just let me know what you think. Once again, comment down below and let me know if you're looking forward to this game as much as I am. Anyway, just kick back, relax, and enjoy this pummeling of the pollution. Damn. Actually, Captain Planet would probably be another possibility.
Take that, you overgrown oil spill!
Yeah, take a hike, kill him off. The only thing slick around here is the beatdown we just dished out.
Excellent work, Toxic Crusaders, and excellent wordplay. It's days like these that make me proud to be a hideously deformed creature of superhuman size and strength.
No! Who could have possibly seen this coming?
Told you so.
What was that?
Nothing, boss. Say, isn't that Zazosta calling?
Get him off, come in, you idiot! What's this I'm hearing about Paluto getting blown up? He's got as if sentient oil slicks grow and feed, you know!
Well, actually, your foulness, if our master plan comes to fruition, they just might.
No thanks to you, Kiramov! And it's my master plan, not yours! Now don't you have another level to disappoint me on?
Yes, of course, Zazosta. We were just, heading there now. Although that's a little harsh, perhaps.
Hey, he's getting away! And before we can bring him to justice for all his evil schemes and stuff.
Don't sweat it, No Zone. Looks like Killamov's heading into the Tromaville Health Club. We can bring him to justice and work on our glutes at the same time.
You leave my glute out of this.
Good thinking, Fender. A healthy planet starts with a healthy body, as I always say. Come on, Toxic Crusaders. It's shape-up time!
And that crew was the Toxic Crusaders demo. I hope you all enjoyed this video. As always, I would really appreciate it if you would comment down below, power punch that like button, and subscribe to the channel. Thanks again for watching, and I hope y'all stay safe out there. Logging out.